The first thing I want to talk about in today's episode is Vance Joseph. Is he leaving for an NFL head coaching opportunity elsewhere? We've got some buzz out there that teams are interested in VJ to be their next head coach. The Raiders have requested to meet with the Broncos defensive coordinator, and Ian Rappaport expects some other teams to make interest as well. So let's talk about the possibility of Vance Joseph, who has done an excellent job of engineering this defense that really didn't have a whole lot going for them in their first year, going all the way from giving up 70 points in Miami to being, believe it or not, one of the best scoring defenses in football in 2025. Now, there's pros and cons if the Broncos were to lose Vance Joseph. Con is you lose the mastermind of what was an excellent defense this year. Pro is the Broncos would get 2 third-round draft picks, one in 2025, one in 2026. So those are the facts. 2 third-rounders if a minority head coach is hired away. It's the team that has the coach to begin with, not the team that's hiring the coach to get those 2 additional third-round draft picks. My personal belief is I don't think Vance Joseph is going to get a head coaching job this cycle. It's not easy to get a second opportunity to be a head coach. It's especially not easy if you're a defensive coach. Take Dan Quinn, for example. Took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. We know what happens. Ultimately, gets canned in Atlanta, goes to Dallas, and is their defensive coordinator for a handful of years. There was some buzz after year 1, after year 2. Stayed in Dallas. Why? Well, there might be some desperation if you're Vance Joseph. If anyone calls, you want the job. But 99% chance that the next job that Vance Joseph takes, if it is a head coaching job, that'll be his last job as a head coach. So if it's not the right opportunity, and he knows he's down to his final strike, as crazy as it might sound, he might exercise some patience. Ben Johnson last year was like the number 1 candidate, opted to stay in Detroit. I think that's him exercising some patience. So Vance Joseph, I think for starters, is not, I won't say ready to be a head coach, but I don't think from the view of other teams is a surefire thing to be a successful coach again. I think they're likely going to want to see VJ put together some strong defenses in consecutive years, not just a breakout 2025 defense. So once we see some consistency year over year, then I think the interest will get real from the rest of the league on Vance Joseph. But the example I go back to is look at Dan Quinn. Look how good that Cowboys defense was for a stretch. And he kept going back. And I think he kept going back because he wanted to wait for the right opportunity. And it's not easy to see a defensive coordinator get a second crack at being a head coach. So my gut tells me Vance Joseph, he may be a head coach again down the road, but I don't believe it's this offseason. So how would you grade Vance Joseph's 2024 Broncos defense? A, B, C, D, or F? I'm going to give it a B+. Only thing that's holding me back from giving it an A is down the stretch when the chips were down, the defense started to crack a little bit. I'm not putting too much of the wild card loss on the defense. That to me goes back to time of possession, but there's a lot to be proud of. Number 1 pass rush in football, led the NFL in sacks, was not working with an ensemble of like Pro Bowl players. The only Pro Bowler on that team was Pat Surtain, but he made a whole bunch of other guys a lot of money. Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen. So a lot to be proud of. I'll go with B+. I'm probably being a little bit too stingy, but that's my grade. Now, some news I want to relay to you regarding Bo Nix. So Bo Nix, in his final media presser, we'll call it, when he spoke to a couple of guys at his locker after the Broncos wildcard loss and back in Denver cleaning out the locker, he was talking about the season, and he mentioned that he played through a transverse process fracture in his back. Fancy medical lingo for a broken back. A couple of the wings on his Vertebrae, I don't really know what that means. I never got into Grey's Anatomy, so someone who's in the medical field can tell me about this, please, in the comments. But he played through more or less a broken back for the last couple of weeks of the season. The injury happened in Week 12 at Las Vegas. You can find the moment in like the second quarter where Tyree Wilson sacks him and he gets up and he's like, that one hurts. And I remember the next couple of weeks, he was on the injury report with a back injury. Ultimately, he played through the entire thing, never missed a snap. The bye week also came at a very convenient time because after the Raiders game, they had the Browns on Monday Night Football and then the bye. And then Nick said coming out of the bye, he was feeling fine. So kudos to him, though. He is tough as nails. If I break my back at work, there's no more Broncos breakdown videos for the foreseeable future. Deuces. Like, that's not me even being lazy. If I have a broken fucking back, you think I'm going to be, let alone standing here, an NFL quarterback? No way. So, major brownie points and major tough points. I mean, think about that. As a rookie, you're the freshman. You're the new guy, right? And you've got all these NFL vets that have been in the league for years on years on years. They played through a ton of injuries. And here's their rookie quarterback with a broken back not leaving the game. You better believe that there's going to be a lot of belief from the rest of his teammates in 10 when they find this out, or when they found it out. Before we get on to the rest of the Bo Nix news and some other subjects as well, quick shout out to our sponsor, Game Time. Game Time has an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. So if you want to go see the Nuggets or the Avs or any other sporting event in your area, download the Game Time app today to take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Once you download the app and create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So let's talk about Nix in a little bit more detail here, because on top of the back injury that he revealed, he's also been named to the NFL rookie. Oh, sorry. We're going to jump the gun a little bit here. He was also named one of the finalists for the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year candidates. Reed's having a tough time on the ones and twos. Just bear with him for a moment here. You guys get to see how the sausage is made here. So let's talk about the 2025 Rookie of the Year candidates, which includes Bo Nix, Jayden Daniels, Bucky Irving, and 3 more players, as there are 6 players who have been named to the Pepsi Zero Calorie, I don't know what it is. It's quite the award name. Rookie of the Year candidates. You've got Brian Thomas, Malik Nabers, and Brock Bowers. So 6 candidates altogether named to the Rookie of the Year award, and our sweet prince, Bo Nix, is one of the 6. So with that being said, I want to discuss how likely it is that Bo Nix is going to win this award. Do I believe he's going to win this award? But I'll open up by saying major credit and bravo and round of applause and all that stuff to Bo Nix first and foremost. He's the one that's actually on the field playing, but also to this coaching staff. They identified Bo Nix. It was not a consensus slam dunk pick on draft night, but there are 2 quarterbacks who were named to the finalist, the 2nd overall and the 12th overall. So major kudos to Sean Payton and this coaching staff for getting the best version of Bo Nix out of himself, but also for Bo Nix for actually making the plays on the field. Now, when it comes to history at this award, usually you think, oh, MVP of sorts, it's always going to be a quarterback. Actually, not the case, as you saw like 60 seconds ago. C.J. Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, the last 5 to win it. The last running back, by the way, was Saquon Barkley in 2018, but we don't have enough room here. So 3 quarterbacks and 2 wide receivers. So it's not purely a quarterback award. It truly is given out to the best player of the entire rookie class, which isn't always the case for the MVP award. But in my eyes, there are two major candidates, Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels, because there are two very good quarterbacks in this class, and tie tends to go to the quarterback. So, between Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels, who's going to win the award? If you want to go line by line and give points out for every single statistical category, Jayden Daniels wins completion percentage, he wins rushing yards, he wins interceptions. Bo Nix wins passing yards and touchdowns. My prediction is Jayden Daniels will win the award. I'm not saying that because I think he deserves to win the award over Bo Nix. I think both guys have great cases, and honestly, it's not a bad decision one way or the other, and I don't think there's something to get too worked up over or to die on this hill for that. Bo Nix absolutely must win the award. If he does win the award, he's deserving of it. He nearly set the NFL passing record for touchdowns by a rookie, tying, I think, Baker Mayfield from 2018, who also did not win the award, by the way, in 2018. But anywho, both guys are very deserving. I believe the voters, and this is just what I'm thinking the voters are doing, not what I would do. I think the voters are going to go with Jayden Daniels because he had some more wow moments, and those moments tend to stick in your head a little bit more. That throw he had on the Monday night doubleheader against the Bengals to Terry McLaurin to knock off Cincinnati and really start to put the Commanders on the map. The incredible start he had to the year, and then the ending. There's always some level of recency bias. And Bo Nix had a great game against the Chiefs as well, but unfortunately for him, he wasn't playing starters, so people are going to, discount that. Well, it's not like Bo controls who the defense puts out there. He can only play the 11 he sees. But my prediction is when the award ceremony happens right before the Super Bowl, Rookie of the Year is going to go to Jayden Daniels. So don't shoot the messenger. That's just my prediction. Now, if you had to pick one, who would you pick? Jayden Daniels or Bo Nix? Let me know in the comment section below. I think if Bo Nix is on the Commanders and Jayden Daniels is on the Broncos, we see better stats for Bo Nix in Washington than Jayden Daniels in Denver. I feel like Bo Nix was working with a little bit less and put out some really good numbers. One guy that I just want to give, I don't really know why, but some credit to or some airtime to, Brian Thomas was also fantastic this year. He somewhat got lost in the mix of the Jags just being the Jags. Dude is a rookie at 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's going to be a star in this league. So remember this when you're drafting your fantasy football league next August and Brian Thomas is there in like round 5 or something, maybe round 4, take him because I feel like he's a star in the making. And if there weren't two really good quarterbacks this year, he'd be my vote for Rookie of the Year. So Brian Thomas, I didn't think you probably expect to be on a Broncos YouTube channel today, but here you go. I'm going to give you your flowers. You earned them.